Druidry is perhaps one of the most misunderstood and mysterious belief systems that came out of the Celtic areas. Although in modern day there are a number of different religions that are linked to the old pagan beliefs such as witchcraft and Wicca, Druidry is the most misunderstood because the Druids did not actually record their rituals or their beliefs on paper. This can be seen as a positive or a negative. Having no written rules basically gives you a sense of freedom, and when you actually look into the Druid beliefs, you can see how that would be a good thing. Druids have a very keen link to the natural world, and in a sense Druidry is not so much a religion, rather a spiritual path. And basically Druids are free to worship however they please, but the main thing that links them is their connection to the natural world. And although each Druid may have their own sort of personal beliefs and ways of worship, the one link they all have is they all observe and worship nature. To the ancient and modern Druid, the natural world was literally everything. Plants were used to create medicine, they were used to nourish and feed, and they're also used as shelter. It's also been noted that Druids may not even worship a certain deity, whereas other Druids could be polytheistic, where they would worship multiple deities. Or animalist and pantheist Druids may believe that the deities are inside every living thing, which is why they would worship nature in general. Druids also believe that all species are equal, and not one species should have reign over another, and that includes humans. And although Druids are very grounded, they also believe in the other world. And they believe this other world is a place that beings travel to upon death, their soul travels over. And they also believe we can visit the other world during meditation or during dreams. And again, each Druid may have his own personal beliefs on the other world, but it's largely believed that the soul will go through a number of stages. It will sort of transcend, it will start off as an animal, then maybe go into another species, then end up as a human. But in between those cycles, you will rest in the other world. In Druidry, there are three main goals. These are wisdom, and it's been recorded in Celtic mythology that the Druid's main goal is to gain knowledge. Secondly is creativity. Druids are largely linked to the bards, and they were known for passing down their tales through song, poetry, or even just plain old tales. And lastly is love, and this of course comes through with the Druids linked to nature and loving all species and all plants. It should be noted that Druidry has no Bible or holy book, which is why things are a little bit loose. And Julius Caesar actually first made reference to the Druids in 50 BC. I do have a little note here written down, so I'm going to read this. It says, the first reference we have to Druids comes from Julius Caesar's Commentari de Ballo Gallico from around 50 BC. They were described by later Greco-Roman writers such as Cicero and Pliny the Elder. Following the Roman invasion of the Celtic land of Gaul in Western Europe, the Druids were suppressed by government. During the 1st century, emperors Tiberius and Claudius played a huge part in the suppression, and by the 2nd century there were no mention of Druidry on written record. Around the year 750, the word Druid appears in a poem by Blathmack, and this poem he wrote about Jesus, and he says, "Better than a prophet, more knowledgeable than every Druid, a king who was a bishop and a complete sage." I want to go more in depth into the actual history of the ancient Druids in a separate video, and I also want to talk about their role in Celtic society, because the Druid was not only just a spiritual figure, he was the main leader of the society basically. He was the doctor, he was government. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed seeing the outdoors here. I don't know how the sound's going to play out. Last time I recorded here, which was this exact spot actually, it didn't go so well because there was birds, but it has just rained overnight, and as you can see it's probably very evident in the back. And I actually had to trek through this basic jungle to get out here, so hopefully this turns out okay. I'll be back with more videos soon. Until then, Gormaga.